Today is Tuesday, January 30th, and you are watching SBA Today. I am Paul Long, Assistant Vice President of SBA Lending with Giza Credit Union located in Washington State, and I am joined by...
I'm Tonya Mazurek, Colorado's SBA Manager and Producing Loan Officer for Midwest Regional Bank.
Awesome. Well, hey, for today, we're going to go into some stats and do a little bit of show and tell. So I think it'll be it'll be fun. Get some graphics up there, right?
Show and tell, Paul. Be careful, man. They're going to think back to my my little hot pink.
Oh, that's it. Last week,
short.
Exactly.
Not that show and tell, guys.
Oh, oops. Well, hey, let's kind of get into some news and stats here, and I want to share with you from our friends at Equifax and the Coleman report. Reflected a chart that I thought was absolutely fascinating. And so what it goes over is it kind of shows your default rate in certain industries. Look at 2008, 2011, poor construction industry. I mean, there was some pretty big defaults on there. But now let's move over to what's going on right now, because that's what matters. If you notice, a lot of those lines are starting to tick up a little bit, which we all kind of expect, increasing interest rates, inflation, all of that. But my goodness, look at the blue line, guys. Blue line is transportation. That is a sharp increase. You look at fuel prices, you look at regulations, and I'm not telling you how to do your business, but I would sure be looking a little bit carefully on your transportation if you do a lot on that.
Well, Paul, have you gotten a lot of those? I've gotten quite a few of those lenders reaching out as of late. So this actually doesn't surprise me based on the amount of new transportation borrowers that are either trying to get in the space, or if you think about it too, look at since COVID, right? And everybody started purchasing online. So then you've got all of those transportation industries or businesses there too that are jumping in, but it's almost like overkill. So it's surprising and yet not when you really, really get to thinking about it.
I tend to get a lot of calls for trucking companies wanting to buy land to park their trucks. I get, honestly, probably one a week. Like, it's crazy. It's that and wedding venues. I don't know what it is in Colorado, but in Washington, those are my two common calls. And yeah, I mean, it is quite a bit on there. And I think, there's a lot of education companies that train truck drivers and such. I've looked at a couple of those companies. So again, I don't want to dive and spend too much time on stats, but hey, BDOs, hey, credit managers, that's an important graph.
Well, you want to know what I find really interesting is construction is not as bad as many had thought. I do a ton of construction, ground up, you name it. But that's honestly, you get your credit officers that are all concerned with construction, and nobody really wants to do these ground up construction projects. I mean, it's not what you would think it would be. So I guess that's a problem. I mean, they're up there, but
well, and I think another thing is too, is the construction industry. Think about all your subs, your plumbing, electrical, all of that. I'm going to assume is inside that yellow line too. There's still quite a demand that's going on. So I still think it's, it's interesting. I am kind of a stats nerd, but.
Well, you just take the stats out from in front of that.
Oh, is that it? Oh, I'm just a nerd. Yeah.
You went there.
And this one, Ray shared on his social media, this from the friends at Lumos. Think about what happened in 2010, what $5 billion in SBA lending in 2010 compared to 2023.
Right.
Good Lord, guys. 5 lenders are doing the same production as 35 shops.
Crazy.
And then think about, you look at, who some of these players were 10 years ago and who they are now. I mean, you got Live Oak is the big dog. We get that. Huntington is keeping its place. New Tech was just growing 10 years ago. Ready Cap, look at them. I mean, it's crazy to see
Yeah.
that. And does that make you nervous at all? Or
It,
what is it? How does that make you feel, Tanya?
I think it makes me kind of nervous. I mean, for sure. It like it reminds me of all these companies that, they're buying each other. They're taking the competition out in a way. So what
Mhm.
does that say over the long term for borrowers and whatnot? I mean, is it going to be that there's no more competition if this continues happening and all the big dogs just, kind of keep doing all the business or growing at that rate? What then does that say for interest rates or terms or competing with your, you know, prior? Look at all the competition, right? You really had to do something well for that borrower. Um, I don't know.
Correct.
It makes me a bit nervous. How about you?
Yeah, it definitely does make me a little
Yeah.
bit nervous. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what 5 billion looks like in 2033. God,
Right.
I'm going to be old early by then. You'll still look the same, Tanya.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
but is it going to be like, Live Oak? Are
right.
they going to be the 5 billion and it's going to be a real simple chart?
Mhm.
And thinking about, AI, what is that going to do to lending? How's that going to increase, approvals and that type stuff? It's just, it's interesting. We have such a fascinating business.
I know.
And it's just really interesting to kind of sit back and eat popcorn and kind of watch how it progresses. But
You've
yeah,
never seen me eat popcorn, Paul. Just saying.
oh, gotcha. Just shoving it in.
No, come on. You got to catch it. I'm such a child.
Right, right. Well, I
But
wanted to share with you, I just kind
yeah.
of those two stats, and we'd love to hear your comments too on that. Please put those down below on some of those comments on how you feel based on these stats, how you take it. We'd love to hear your feedback on that. What I want to share with you guys is a quick little just kind of a story. So this is my desk in an average day. Okay, so I wanted to kind of share with you guys and everyone. Obviously we work so hard in the days, regardless of our position in SBA lending. It is craziness all the time. Like even when it's slow, it's crazy, right? So how do you keep yourself organized? One thing that, and again, I'm just sharing tips from me, and I hopefully, I'd love to hear what some of your tips are keeping organized as well. I think the magic of a whiteboard is critical to be able to know like where your goals are and that type stuff. Having that, as well as a CRM system. Now, I'm a huge fan of a CRM system because I don't think there's anything easier than a CRM system to call back a client. Because if you don't write it down, follow up with it, you're not calling your clients back. And that's a common issue that's happening in SBA lending and even in commercial lending is, customers just say, oh, well, you never called me back, or a person never called back. Well, is that because you're not organized or because you don't like their deal? You're lazy? Like, what is it? Why aren't you calling people back?
Right.
And I think the power of a CRM is critical. And even if your organization doesn't have a CRM, go get your own CRM and run it. It's very simple to do on there. But I just wanted to kind of just share with you guys, some tips because when we were getting ready for this, I was thinking to myself, I was super busy and didn't have time, and I'm like, this is a common problem for BDOs and anybody in commercial lending is just trying to keep your head above water, right? How do you kind of keep yourself organized, Tanya?
Well, you can keep sharing that if you like, because I'm not about to share mine.
Aha!
I
See,
mean,
we should have shared yours too.
oh, heck no, right? No, I'm like Little Miss Sticky Note. I've got paper everywhere. I mean, it's interesting. Mine looks a bit different than that. I like to tease, so that salespeople aren't organized. We use the wrong side of our brains, darn it. So
Sure.
no, mine is not quite that, but I agree with you on the CRM. We didn't have a particular one here. So what I did is I brought one in myself for my team here in Colorado, and I used pipe drive. Very simple. You know, it's easy. We can keep track. It helps us to keep the ability to follow up as well with our customers. So I agree with you on that. Even if you don't have one, it's pretty inexpensive to grab your own.
Absolutely. I use Zoho. Great, affordable, and you can kind of customize it any way you want to. But there's plenty of them out there. But don't be afraid to go out and get your own if your own institution doesn't have it. It's definitely a big thing. Well, guys,
that screen down. You're making me really uncomfortable. I'm sitting here looking around, Paul, and I'm like,
and that's messy.
Really?
That's messy. Come on.
That is so not messy. Yeah. I think you probably did that purposely, because my guess is you are not a messy guy.
Maybe you try to stay organized, but sometimes it's impossible.
Well, before we get off to, I kind of wanted to, just with the numbers, and I think I had mentioned this prior, just with the numbers and the difference, because we're looking at Lumos, we're looking at default rates, we're looking at, the conglomeration or all the big guys kind of swallowing up some of the smaller ones and doing more. For first quarter, I just wanted to talk, and I really only got the numbers for Colorado, so that's all I can say, but I'm wondering if it's pretty similar across the board. So I looked back on numbers for like 2022 to 2023 here in Colorado, and just took a few different ones, right? So I did Live Oak, right? Because that's one of the biggies. They did in first quarter of 2022, they did 17 loans at 18.6 million. And then this year, so 2023, so October through December of this year was 11 at 11.3. So less on both ends. Huntington in 2022 did 6 at 1.2 million. They grew significantly, 51 at 10.2. First quarter alone here in Colorado. And this is just Colorado, right? For approvals. I can throw us in there just as an example. We did 8 at 5 million back in 22 for the first quarter. We did 5 at 8.5. So I think we're dyslexic, kind of like I say my birth date or my birth age is dyslexic, right? And then Wells Fargo did 22 at 2.7 million in 22 and 35 at 7.9 million this year. So then they significantly grew. It's just really interesting to sometimes follow these numbers, Mr. Statistics guy.
It really is. Lumos has a great tool, which I recommend anyone to go out and
Absolutely
get from them. And you can dissect institutions, state, industries. Woo, it's pretty cool.
And any of you that don't know, you can reach out to your peeps at SBA. They'll give you your quarter numbers in your different states. As far as how you've done. I love my guy, Steve White here at SBA, because I'm like, hey, Steve, so what's it by volume? Because I really like to show Midwest by volume, because we have a tendency to do, larger amounts. So, we kind of climb up the ladder. But reach out to your SBA in your respective states. They're amazing teammates, man.
They really are. Absolutely.
So
we'll go ahead and close us down, Tonya.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, guys, we loved having you here again. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we've shared some good information. Would love to see you next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. See you then.
See you later.